I'm David Ives, Contracts Manager with CHEETHAM Hill Construction. CHEETHAM Hill is a multidisciplinary civil engineering company. We do about £20 million turnover a year. And I was Contracts Manager on the DREAM project and responsible for the overall management of the scheme. It was a different contract for ourselves, as we had to develop different roles and responsibilities. For example, working with the design team, developing the design from concept, and also dealing with the huge amount of interest generated by the scheme. The contract consisted of various elements of construction. We had an access road to construct, first off up an existing track to gain access to the site of DREAM. We then constructed 38-metre long piles, concrete piles through the slag heap into the existing ground to take the weight of the structure and transfer the weight to the ground. We then had a concrete pile cap to construct, and then obviously the plinth and the sculpture itself to bring to site and to construct. The contract period in total was about 14 months from March 2008, which is when we took on the role of principal contractor. There were 7.5 months off-site works where the design was developed and the target cost was built up, programs were agreed, and this was all done with the wider team, St.Helens Council, Arabs, and the artist. The on-site works were 6.5 months, which included from the construction of the access road to the installation of the sculpture and to handover. The main challenges to the contract, first off, was the access. It was very steep in some instances. We had to ensure that we could get the heavy units up the path to the location of DREAM. It's also a very difficult contract to visualize, whereas if you're constructing a road or a building, you can visualize it in your mind, you can piece it together, whereas with DREAM, it was only really when we were doing the actual construction that we could sort of see what it was about and ultimately that it would work. One of the main concerns was that the individual bespoke concrete pieces would actually fit together because every piece is so different. And I have to say that the absolute excellent quality that was done by Evans Concrete and Cordec in producing the moulds, and also ICP for the installation of the DREAM, are really a credit to the companies. DREAM itself, the sculpture of DREAM, is actually made out of concrete, fibre reinforced concrete with a Spanish dolomite, which gives it its white texture and its white gleaming finish. The sculpture of DREAM was constructed out of 54 individual pieces of concrete, precast concrete, which were transported to site from Derbyshire at all hours of the day and night in adverse weather conditions, and had to be dragged up the hill to the site of a DREAM. The erection of DREAM and installation of the individual pieces was done with mobile cranes, taking approximately 30 days all in all, which included some days that we were winded off, in other words, where it was just too windy and too unsafe to work with the crane. I think the trickiest moment for me was actually seeing the first pieces of DREAM fit together, and that was really the make or break of the contract, and we knew then whether it was going to be a success or not. There were two highlights for me. The one was actually seeing the first few pieces of the jigsaw puzzle fit together. And the second highlight for me was seeing the artist Jaume Plensa's face when he actually saw the completed sculpture. I think we're exceptionally lucky to be involved in DREAM. It's the type of contract that we're only really privileged to do once in a lifetime, if any. and for me it's going to be a really visual thing for many years to come. As a company, we've used Dream in tender submissions for new works to show the versatility of what we can do. We used local suppliers where we could, but of course, due to the bespoke nature of the contract and the unique skills required, we had to outsource, and some of the contractors were from further afield. I think that teamwork was the key to the success of the project, and for me the team is really from the artist through St. Helens Council really down to the guy fixing the reinforcing at the end of the day. Our subcontractors that were chosen by us were not necessarily chosen from price and capability, but also their willingness to be part of the team and their openness. If I had the chance to be on a contract such as Dream again, I think I would show it off to youngsters a lot more, particularly youngsters who would be interested in construction, to show them what civil engineering can be about. And it's not just climbing into a trench and getting dirty. From a personal viewpoint, I'm exceptionally proud to be associated with Dream, and it just goes to prove that we can do something different if we're given the chance. I think that Dream symbolises the culmination or the coming together of construction and artistry to show what can be done when the two meet on a big scale. I often get asked by people, on the one hand, how was it made, what does it consist of, and on the other hand, what does it symbolise? Although I live locally to St. Helens, I never appreciated the mining history and heritage of the area, and for me it was always Manchester and Liverpool that were the bigger places. Now that Dream is in place, for me it is a landmark, it's forming part of the wider area, and it certainly puts St. Helens on the map.